today to share with you that you can work for corporate America and have a soul at the same time. It's true, it is. I have the wonderful position of working as Director of Corporate Responsibility and Community Relationships at Cox Enterprises. And Cox Enterprises is actually based in Atlanta, Georgia. Do we have any Atlantans in the house? Holla. Oh, good. So we are a 118-year-old company. We started out in the media business, started out with newspapers, actually, with an entrepreneur in Dayton, Ohio, Governor Cox, who went with his own money, took a loan out of a bank, and he was a teacher, and he started and actually bought the Dayton Daily News. So we started out automatically in a service business, making sure that we were sharing the news with readers, and then we went on to go into radio and into television, and then into cable and broadband, which we have right here in Arizona, Cox Communications, and also home security and wireless, and home, for those of you that, I'm guessing nobody here has a landline phone, but if you did, you'd be able to get it from Cox Communications. And then we also have automotive businesses, so you may be familiar with some of our brands like Auto Trader. So we have $18 billion in revenue and 55,000 employees. And so the great thing about having 55,000 employees is that we have 55,000 ambassadors, people who we can really help to educate and to help really not only take the mission of Cox Conserves from an operations standpoint, but also in their daily behavior. And actually, Adrian touched on that. I thought it was great, talking about how it could be so overwhelming. You really need to start small, and particularly in a business when people are worried about saving money and is it the right thing. I can tell you from personal experience that what's good for the environment is definitely good for business. You save money, you do the right thing, and from a risk management perspective, you definitely are saving money. You're also really doing great things for employee engagement. So we have some really, really, really ambitious goals, but attainable goals. But we really need the help not only of our employees, but also our partners, our government partners, our nonprofit partners, and everybody that we work with, our suppliers, in order to meet these goals. Our most aggressive goal is that we want to be zero waste to landfill by 2024. And although we don't produce a product per se in manufacturing, we do a lot, just 55,000 employees, so making sure that we give them the office supplies that they need and the food that, that they eat in the office. How do we make sure that it's sustainably sourced? Making sure that things are properly disposed of. So we really are looking to our employees, and we can't meet that goal without our employees. So we work with partners like Keep Georgia Beautiful in Atlanta, and then also with a lot of different suppliers that are really helping us find some really innovative ways that we can really make a difference in our supply chain. We also are looking to be carbon neutral by 2044 and water neutral by 2044. Originally, our goal was just to reduce our carbon footprint and our energy usage by just everyday energy conservation, making sure we were switching out the light bulbs, making sure that we were reminding people to turn off their computers at night, making sure if you're leaving a conference room to turn the light off after. So small things like that, which then, when we met our goal in 7 years instead of 10, in 2007, our chairman, and I'm very fortunate that my chairman, Jim Kennedy, is very, very passionate personally and a very big environmentalist. But he said, you know what, I really want us to do an additional 20% on top of the 10%, and I want to do that in 10 years. So that was our goal in 2007 when we founded Cox Conserves. And from there, we started to realize, like nature and like everything is connected. So if we were able to reduce our energy usage, not only could we make a difference through carbon, but you use less water to produce less energy, because so many things are tied back to water. So finding ways that we could really make a difference. So our original goal, which was 20% by 2017, has now grown into these goals. And it's all by incremental ways that we've seen the needle move, and we know that we can do it, but that we have to do it together. So the good news is, out of our Cox Conserve Sustainability Survey, one of our big goals is not only how do we want to change our industries, but how do we want to work with our supply chain and really be partners, and not from a point of, you're so bad, we're not going to work with you. But more of, let's find solutions together. Let's make sure if we have a business challenge, let's find the best minds in those industries to help us solve those. And even maybe even create some new technologies together. And technologies can be a good thing, but certainly you have to do the basic things before you start looking at adding technology. So what we found was that half of small and medium-sized businesses really want to do something around sustainability. And the wonderful thing, and you guys are probably no strangers to this, is that you are the most educated out of any generation, and also that people want to recruit you. So that's the number one thing that you have in your back pocket, or in my case, the back of your dress. But whatever you have that you can bring to the table to really help influence these companies that really need your talent and they need your innovation in order to make a difference. So we found that, really across the board, your generation is going to help drive sustainability practices in the future. So to build the case internally, the things you need to do are know your company's priority, know who you need to work with. In our case, it's facilities managers and the energy management folks that really are making a difference in each of the buildings. And also find out in R&D, rip off and duplicate. Make sure if there's some company doing something great, then not only are we willing to share what we're doing, but we're going to take their great ideas also and implement them and take their learnings. And that way we can all make a collective impact a lot faster. So some things that you can really do and the ways that you can tie it back to the business, I talked about recruitment, making sure that you're really making the case that people really want to work, and not only millennials, anybody. If you have a choice of two jobs, you're going to work for the company that is doing the right thing, that when you're talking to your neighbor and telling them what you're doing, you're not ashamed, that you're not in the headlines, you're not doing the wrong thing. So that's the first thing. People really want to work in a place where they feel like they're making a difference. And also, look from a customer lens. Is there a way that you can make a difference through your operations? Paperless billing is still something that isn't totally rolled out at all companies. That's really something that makes a huge impact very quickly. And then also brand reputation. So making sure that in the nonprofit community, the academic community, and the community at large, that you're really seen as a leader. And finally, tie it back to profit. Even if it's $1 that's saved, that's $1 that's earned. So if you're able to show that you're saving money for the company, they're a lot more open to hearing what you have to say. So volunteer opportunities, I know someone said earlier, it's not all about just volunteering, but to me, I actually think volunteering is a great way to connect to the community. Because sometimes environmentalism is so esoteric and so up here, but if you roll up your sleeves and go to a river or an ocean, go to the beach and do a cleanup, and you see how much you come back with, which is two of our main partnerships with American Rivers and Ocean Conservancy, you really see that you're making an impact, and then even collectively that you're making more of an impact together. So since we started those partnerships in 2010 with American Rivers and the Ocean Conservancy, we've already seen that we've cleaned up more than 20 tons of trash just at the cleanups that we've had to date. Also, find if you have an earth share in your particular market, you can add that as an employee giving campaign option. And that's an umbrella organization that serves not only national but also local environmental and nonprofits in your area. And then also make sure that you look to your employees. They have the best ideas. They're actually on the floor, on the ground, in the stores, making the food. They're going to see where the waste is happening. They're going to come up with great ideas. So I already talked about this. I'm going to keep going. And then make sure when you're sponsoring local nonprofits, even if you don't have money to sponsor them, if you're a smaller or medium-sized company that doesn't have a budget, you can give of your time and your skills and your talent. They always are looking for board members. They're always looking for people to work at their events and help them, and also to publicize their events. And you also can look at ways of donating things like office furniture or products that you have in kind. So things at your company you can do, make sure, and probably all of you are aware of this, but this is still pretty new for a lot of companies. Make sure that you have people turn off computers. If you have to print, make sure you're printing double-sided. And also incent people if they're doing the right thing. If they're bringing a bottle or a mug, we actually give them a discount in our cafeteria. And then also on the weekends and evenings when the business buildings are not occupied, make sure that you're turning back the thermostat. To me, the biggest way to show that you're really moving the needle and making a difference in the business community is when you see you're not even having to tell your own story and that others are telling it for you. So our first national nonprofit partner, the Trust for Public Land, is all about protecting tribal lands and important historical markers for people here in the United States. And then also for really protecting land for people. That's their mission. So making sure that we are really protecting the beautiful places that we all love for the future. And I'd like to share this video from our partner, Will Rogers, with the Trust for Public Land.
TPL's partnership with Cox Enterprises has been a wonderful motivator for local communities to really tell their stories. Cox Conserve Heroes made an impact in many, many communities. The volume of inspirational stories that have come through this program, that's the real success. Thousands of people have been exposed so far. It's not just about the land, it's also about the people and about how land and people come together. And that's one of the reasons that this program, the Cox Conserves Hero Initiative, has been so important to the Trust for Public Land in helping make those connections between land and people and inspiration. Plenty of corporations talk about corporate social responsibility, but Cox is really doing it. And they have been for a long time. And it's not surprising. It's really part of their DNA. I guess if there's one thing I could say in closing, it would be thank you. Thank you certainly to Cox Enterprises for the Cox Conserves Heroes program, but also to the communities and the thousands of people that have submitted entries and the wonderful stories that we've gotten to hear about local efforts, local heroes, local inspiration.
So our Cox Conserves Heroes program is actually where we take it the next step and we make sure that we're also recognizing those in the community that are making a difference and that are grassroots leaders. So if you're in our markets where we have Cox Conserves Heroes, and Arizona right here is one of those markets, have somebody nominate you if you're doing something in the community. And as part of that, you get a donation to your environmental nonprofit of choice. And to date, we've actually donated to more than $500,000 to our grassroots volunteers. It's a really great program. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you very much.